Hi friends, Allie here. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I make a pom-pom and how I attach it to my beanies. This is the Pico beanie I made in last week's video. I'll link to the tutorial down below. Now, let's make some pom-poms. To make my pom-poms, I use the large Clover Pom Pom Maker, and it looks like this. This one will make a pom-pom that measures about 3 3/8 of an inch. Now this came in a set of 2, and this smaller one will make a pom-pom that's about 2.5 inches. But I use the larger blue one for all of my beanies. You can find this set online or at some craft stores. I bought mine on Amazon, so I'll share a link to that down below. There's also a bunch of other sizes as well if you want to make smaller or larger pom-poms. Other supplies that we will need to make our pom-poms is yarn. I'll be using medium 4-weight yarn for mine, but you can really use whatever yarn you'd like. I'm using the same yarn of the beanie I'll be putting this on, but feel free to switch it up and try different types of yarns for different style of poms. You will also need a sharp pair of scissors. We'll be cutting through lots of layers of yarn, and having sharp scissors is going to make cutting a lot easier. So grab the sharpest pair of scissors that you own. So grab your pom-pom maker and you'll see that the colored outer part folds out on the top and the bottom. Fold out one side, which is made up of 2 pieces, and line them up. And then we're going to wrap our yarn around both of these pieces. So grab your yarn and holding the tail end, we're going to line it up at the top of our maker just like that. And then we're going to wrap it around both of those pieces and wrap it around itself, the tail end itself, so that it doesn't unravel. Then as evenly as we can, we're going to wrap our yarn across this whole piece until it's nice and full. Don't wrap your yarn too tight, you just need to loosely wrap it around. And I like to wrap it around about 160 times for this yarn weight. Now if you're using a different weight of yarn or a different size pom-pom maker, you'll need to adjust the number of times you wrap your yarn around. It may take some trial and error to find the perfect number, but I'm going to do 160, and I'm just trying to work it as evenly as possible all the way across, and I'm just going to keep going back and forth down the whole piece until I get to about 160 times around. Now you're going to want to remember how many times you do go around, because we're going to do the same thing on the other side, and you want your both sides of the pom-pom to be even, so you want to try and wrap it around the exact number of times on both sides. So just keep working all the way across, working back and forth, making sure you're getting right to the edges, right in the corner pieces, and just wrap it around as evenly as you can, back and forth, all the way around. So when we get to the end, we're going to fold this piece down and it should fit in there nice and snug. And then we're going to cut off our yarn. So just at the top here, we're going to cut it. Then we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So be sure to wrap your yarn around the same number of times so that you get an even pom-pom, and just repeat exactly what we did on the first side. Again, when we get to the end, we're going to fold this piece down and cut off our yarn. Then if you turn your pom-pom maker to the side, we're going to cut down the center here. There's a space here that your scissors will fit through, and we're going to cut all the way across, cutting through all the strands of yarn. And then repeat on the other side. So this is what we're looking like so far. Now we're going to tie all these strands of yarn together. So we're going to cut a long strand of yarn about 16 to 20 inches. This is what we'll use to hold our pom-pom together and what we'll use to attach to our beanie. So feel free to use a thicker string or cord if you'd like. I'm just going to use the same yarn though. So we're going to place the yarn in this gap here. So just wrap the yarn around and then tie a knot. And pull tight as you can without breaking the yarn. And pull tight and then hold it so I can tie another knot. I'm going to tie another one for good measure. You really want to make it as secure as you possibly can. So I'm actually going to turn the maker around and then do that again. Pull tight, tie a few more knots. You really just want to make sure you have it all locked down tight because you don't want any of those little tiny pieces of yarn to fall out. So the tighter the better. Just try not to break your yarn. So once you have it all secured, we're going to remove the maker. So we're just going to flip up the colored outer part on both sides. Then the two sides here can be pulled apart. And there we go. So now we're done with the maker. And now I like to give my palms a shake and fluff them out. And you'll see here that there's some straggly bits. You'll never get a pom-pom that comes out perfect. So we're going to give it a little trim and just try and get it as round as possible. So grab your scissors and trim away. Only take off little bits at a time because once you cut it, you can't get it back. So you don't want to ruin your whole pom-pom by taking a huge chunk out of it. So just take your time and snip off little bits. Make sure you're turning your pom-pom at all angles so you don't miss any little pieces, and also make sure you don't accidentally cut off the two long strands because we'll need those to tie this to our beanie. So just continue trimming until your pom-pom is how you want it. And that's how you make a pom-pom. Here's mine. I got it as round as I could. So now I'll show you how I attach it to my beanies. So I'm going to grab my Pico beanie here. And then I'm also going to grab a crochet hook. It doesn't matter what size of hook, the smaller the better though. If you have tighter stitches on your beanie, you don't want to stretch it with a large hook. So we're just going to use this to pull the strands of yarn through the hat. If you don't have a crochet hook handy, you can also use a yarn needle. So I'm just going to find the center top of my beanie. So if I look at the top, I had worked a magic circle for this one so you can see the circle. And I'm just going to be working right beside the center of the circle. So I'm going to pull the two strands of yarn from my pom-pom on either side of that magic circle there. If your beanie doesn't have a magic circle, that's fine. You just want it to be at the top center of your beanie and then off to the side, because we're going to take both those strands and put one on the right and one on the left of the center of the beanie. So I'm just going to grab one of those strands. So I've inserted my crochet hook through the top of the beanie, and then I'm just going to use it to hook that strand of yarn and pull it through. And then working straight across on the left side of the center, I'm just going to pull that other strand through. So just make sure that your strands of yarn are lined up so that it's going to sit right on the center of the top of your beanie. So there we have both those strands pulled through. So I'm going to flip my hat inside out. And I'm just going to take those two long strands of yarn and tie them together to secure our beanie. So I just always tie my pom-poms on with a bow. I tie a knot and tie a bow so that I can remove them for washing. If you don't want your pom-poms to be removable, then I would just tie a double knot. But I like just using a bow. I find that it's quite secure. Just make sure that your bow is nice and tight. You can even tie the bow twice if you want to make it a little bit more secured. But that's how I secure my pom-poms on. I've never had one fall off, and then I like how it's removable, so when I need to wash the beanie, I can just take the pom-pom off and it won't get ruined in the wash. So yeah, that's how I make my pom-poms, and that's how I attach them to my beanies. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know in the comments if you like this style of video and if there's any other products you'd like me to test out or show you how to use. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.